Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Underhood Show. My name's Josh Profit. I'm the service director here at Mel Hambelton Ford. And beside me today, I have Nick Ballman for Hoosier Tires and Mel Hambelton Ford Parts and all sorts of other stuff. So it is a call-in show, 316-462-3673. That's a number to jump on the air here with us and talk anything automotive. Whatever you want to discuss today, let's do it. I've got a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about today, and Nick, I'm sure you do as well, but 316-462-3673, that's the number to jump on the air here with us, and let's talk automotive from that side of things.
Only show you get paid to call in on, Josh.
Yeah. So
what do you get to call in?
So each and every caller is going to get a package valued at about $130 in value, depending upon how you value the multi-point, but we're going to mail it out to you. It's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection on the vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components on the vehicle, just making sure that it's ready to go for the next 5,000 miles of driving. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. You'll receive complete nitrogen, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer on your tires, and then a BG products package, which is going to consist of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673, and talk about what you want to talk about.
That's right. Last week when you were absent last week, it was Phil and I, and I think we only took one phone call because we know everybody that calls in really just wants to talk to Josh.
You think that's what the deal is?
So now Josh is back. So everybody needs to call in that missed last week. So
what we do need to do, though, we've got to beat the number of calls that you had last week.
So we have to have at least two.
So we can prove that theory for sure. It's been a very, very busy summer around here. I cannot believe that it's already almost the end of July. Middle to end of July, it is flown. We get to the summer months and racing kicks off, and just people are traveling on vacation, and both customers are in a hurry to get things completed, and then also just the summer heat has a tendency to take its toll on components and things breaking from that side, and so it's a lot going on there, and then just because it is summer and kids are out of school and stuff, our employees are, naturally wanting to take their vacations as well. And you're trying to accommodate everybody. So it's been very, very busy around here for sure. But a couple of things that I wanted to talk about too is, we've sponsored a lot of different car shows.
Yes.
Through the summers. It's typically spring and summer and fall. You get a lot going on with car shows and things like that, and had the opportunity to go to a couple of those, and then also being in the parts shop back there. We talk a lot about the MH Ford racing side of things, but really in that inventory or in that department, you can find something for just about anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to fittings or linkages or things like that, I walk around those car shows and look at what the effort and time that people put into those vehicles. And man, to start a project like that is a commitment.
It is
100% a commitment.
And those guys dump a lot of hours and a lot of sweat and a lot of money into a lot of those projects. And you got your Ford guys and your Chevy guys out there, but to me, anything that anybody puts their time and their effort and their money into and that they're proud of, I mean, I think it's cool to look at and just see what they've done or see what they're working on and see what they've completed. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we have a little bit of something for everybody at these, car shows, no matter, what you're working on. We've got the largest selection of A&F fittings and plumbing and aftermarket brake lines and fittings and stuff like that. So, and it's cool going to some of these car shows and seeing some of the people that you've seen come in the store, and then seeing, the projects that they're actually working on, so that's, it's a lot of fun.
And so I go back and forth with this, and I'd like to have some people call in and just say, okay, if money was no object, so money's no object, what would you have? Would it be a new vehicle? Would it be something that is old and restored? I go back and forth with David, our service manager, on this all the time, because he has this envision, and I know exactly what he's after, because I can think of several cars that I'd like to have that are restored, but also I know the effort and what it takes to go into the man hours that it takes to go in to do that or to achieve something like that. And then at the end of the day, you just can't make an old car brand new.
You can't. Yeah.
It's still gonna handle like an old car. So when I go to those shows, I really enjoy looking at those vehicles and can appreciate what somebody's done to get it there. But that's not my cup of tea. Right. I'd rather get in something new, start it up, drive it down the road, have all the feature comforts, have all the safety behind it, everything like that. But I can look at something and appreciate and know that what somebody has invested in it, because it is truly a choice of lifestyle when you do something like that.
And like myself, I'm kind of the opposite. Like I enjoy all of the, the creature comforts of the new vehicles, like my truck and my Explorer. But like when it comes to like a toy or a like a fun car, like my car of choice would be like a 1970 Dodge Challenger TA, 346 pack. When money was no object, I mean, those things, fully restored and, great condition, those things are worth, six figures, easy. And, but when I was about 10 years old, my dad, we were looking for a project car, and this is before I started racing, and a quick story time, but, we found a 1970 Challenger that a guy had out in Augusta. It had the 225 slant six in it. You remember those?
Yep.
And but we went and bought it. It was a 70 Challenger. It was cool at the time. I think we bought it for like $2,500, right? But it was a fully running driving car. It was complete. We redid the interior. We fixed some other things up on it. We eventually had aspirations to drop a V8 in it and all that stuff. But then when I was about 12, we started racing. We started go-kart racing, and at the time we lived in a house, only had a 2-car garage, and we just didn't have enough room for everything. So we ended up having to sell the Challenger. Well, I kind of feel like that was maybe one of the largest financial mistakes we ever made, because that car today that we bought for $2,500, even in the condition that it was in, would probably be worth a solid 5-figure number. You know what I mean? So I really wish we still had it, but
no, I can understand that. And so hey, let's get some callers. Call in here, 316-462-3673. And what would be your car of choice to refurbish or have rebuilt? Again, money no object. What would you prefer, something new, or would you refurbish something?
Yep, absolutely.
From that side, and I think we'll go through here and answer some chats here. But I think it's always when you're talking with these people at car shows, it's always back to, or what you hear the most common of, what I drove in high school. I want what I drove in high school, and I want it refurbished, and from that side of things. So 316-462-3673. What's your automobile of choice? So let's go through, and I think we got a couple
let's answer some chats here. So we got Keegan, and remember, to get the prize pack, you have to call into the show. But she has a question about her 2012 Chevy Cruze. I just replaced the PCV valve and the EGR valve, and it still sounds like there is an air leak on the engine. How do I find that?
So it sounds like we're hunting a vacuum leak of some sort for that. So Keegan, if you want to call into the show, 316-462-3673, maybe get a little more details of what all's going on, or what you're fighting there. But if you are fighting a vacuum leak, there are several ways to do that. One, I guess very safely would be to use some type of carb cleaner or something that's that's combustible that would raise the idle if you were to spray it onto, around like your intake gaskets and around vacuum hoses and lines and things like that. And whenever that engine sucks some of that stuff in there, it will raise the idle. So you're hearing audible tone of the idle flare up. Now, if you have spark plug wire that is maybe not the greatest of shape or something, and you hit that and it causes a spark, it surely can ignite that. The other way to go about that is, plugging off all of your vacuum ports from the engine, just so you know it's not an external source, that it's actually part of the engine. So, and then you'd be looking over your again, your intake gaskets and things like that on the engine if you're have eliminated all the external sources. So if you want to call into the show, 316-462-3673, that's the number. Jump on the air here, and Keegan, maybe we can get a little more information from you and help you a little bit more on what you got going on there. So what else you got there on the list?
We got James Furman. Good morning, James.
Good morning, James.
Rex says, "Whoa, Phil has hair."
Yeah, there he does. Yeah, he does. So Phil's out today. He is they went to Beatrice,
Nebraska last night to run the weekly IMCA show there with Jake.
Yeah.
I think they ended up running 6th or 7th. So
yeah,
that's
6th or 7th at the deal. He was texting, and the motor wasn't doing exactly what I think he wanted it to do from that side. Yeah. So I'm sure today going to be mad trying to figure that out and get a solution there, and then back in Hayes tonight. So
I'll tell you, Beatrice, that's for never being there before. That is a good finish because they have some heavy hitters that run that weekly show up there.
So what is as far as track wise and things like that? What's Beatrice track up there?
So I think I've actually never raced on it. But from what I understand, I think it's a big 3/8 mile.
Yeah,
you carry quite a bit of speed around it.
We've been there, hadn't we? Didn't we drive by it and
we may have. Yeah, we may have
on one of the Hoosier tours up there. So
yeah, but they've got a lot of good racers around that area. You got Johnny Saloff, who's been a multi-time IMCA champion that still runs that deal weekly. He actually won last night. And you just got a whole other list of household names for modified racing in the Midwest. So Jake had a really good finish last night for being his first time there racing against those cars. So.
Yeah, very good. I'm sure I'm sure there'll be another rematch.
Oh yeah,
if you will.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So well, good deal. We got a couple other comments on here as well. So
good morning, Delbert.
Yeah, got Delbert. Good morning.
Can you say bad turbo? Hopefully not, though.
Huh?
Not really.
Turbo. Oh, I wonder if he's talking about the.
The previous.
Previous conversation with Keegan up there and on the PCV valve and looking for the air leak. So could be. And then
Rex came back and said he sold a 72 Chevelle for $1,500 and he feels like an idiot. Well, that's kind of how we felt with our challenge. So I feel your pain, Rex.
I can't think of that's like. I guess the other common thing is everybody wishes they always kept every car they ever had from that side of things. So if you knew today, if you knew today what you knew tomorrow or yesterday, then I guess you'd make different decisions for sure. So, well, let's get a phone call here, 316-462-3673. What car would you want restored? Or let's take it another step, like Rex. What car had you previously sold that you wish you
still had? Yeah, exactly.
For sure. So yeah, it's fun seeing all these guys come in here and trying to talk to them about their application and what it is they're working on and helping them, problem solve. Because when you get to building these things, whether it's a race car or, refurbishing an older car or whatever it is that they're working on. I mean, you've even seen people in here with, ATV needs or go-karts or stuff like that, but you're always the puzzle is, I've got this and I need to go from here to here. And then how do I do that?
How do you do that? Yeah, exactly.
And that's where coming in here and looking at all the fittings and the displays that we have out, we try to get, we got a pretty confined space to have everything out, but we try to get as much as out as we can so you can physically, because to me, man, if I'm working on something at home or doing a home improvement project, I'm plumbing. I can think any type of plumbing project. I'm going into Home Depot or Lowe's, and I got this piece and I got this piece, and I need to know how to get from here to there.
Exactly.
Got it all laid out in my head, so I think of the same thing.
Right.
Guys come in here,
and there's other places to buy fittings, obviously, but it's hard to do your plumbing project ordering it from a catalog or ordering it online, from like a Jegs or a Summit, because you just don't know exactly where you're going to be. So, a lot of people that come in the store, and start looking at that fitting wall, we go out and ask them, what can we help you find? What are you looking for? And their answer is usually, well, I'm not exactly sure. Like I need to go, I need to go from, my fuel cell to my pump, but I don't exactly know if I need a 90 or 45 or, whatever. So,
and then, the other side of that is, when you start talking thread pitch or sizes, or you've got pipe thread, there's so many different options on that side of things. And if you're just a novice in the deal, it's not a matter of just looking at it and knowing, for sure. And so it's definitely a huge advantage to be able to come in, touch it, feel it, screw it together, sure it works, make sure everything's there for sure. So anyways, 316-462-3673. We're talking about car shows or like, I guess, automotive wants. If you could get any vehicle you wanted and money was no object, what would it be? So
automotive dream car.
316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and give us your answer there. Or if you've got another question, something automotive, something ailing your vehicle, want to talk about that as well, we'd be more than happy to try and help you diagnose that and get you a package just for calling into the show. So I think we got another comment.
Yes, so James says, my first car was a 1980 Ford Futura. It was a beater and about as fast as a snail. But if I had the money, I would have liked to have overhauled it and souped that thing up. Yeah. So that would be cool. It would be a sleeper. You pull up next to at the stoplight next to Josh here in his Corvette, blow his doors off. So
David and I were headed to the airport the other day to pick up a vehicle, and there was a Vista Cruiser, and this thing was immaculate. And it was a very good looking vehicle. They did a really good job, but I would have never have thought somebody would build one of those. Like it's big, it's wide, it's but again,
probably had some sentimental value and meant something to him. And like I said before, if you put your time and your effort into it and you're proud of it, it's cool in my book.
That guy drove one in high school. I'm almost certain of it.
Probably so, guaranted. Hell, it may have been his first car.
Well, it could have been. Yeah. So that guy didn't sell his.
Nope. He was smart.
So. Well, let's. It looks like we got another comment there as well. So
we got Delbert says 74 Pontiac Firebird, bought it for $850 in 1990, drove for 3 years and traded it for a 91 Chevy Astro van. It was a sad day.
So that is going from one extreme to the other there. So Delbert, you're going to have to give us a call here, 316-462-3673. I want to know what went into making that decision. That sounds like maybe a family decision.
Yeah, family decision, definitely. But I can tell you what, if in the 90s, if you were a parent driving a Chevy Astro van, you were uptown.
Well,
let me tell you.
Those things had those real pointy noses.
Oh yeah,
and they look kind of like they come from the future a little bit. And the other day, that's been probably a month ago, somebody had brought one in for service, and it was a manual transmission. in an Astro van, and that really threw me for a loop.
Wow.
Very much so. But looks like we got another comment on there.
If I could have my car of my dreams, it would love to have a GT 500.
Yeah. Yeah, very
James,
much.
yep.
The KR edition. So, yep, that
I
is.
Bet. And then Greg says, I bet if it is a new Ford as a dream car, MH Ford could help you out. we definitely could. We could definitely order for you.
Yeah, that's one of those things. And it's being in this industry, it is hard to have one dream car.
It is.
Just because you just see so many things come in and you're like, oh, I gotta have that. And
right.
6 months later, well, wow, I didn't know that was an option.
Right.
I gotta have that. So
yeah, exactly.
That is one thing for sure, being in this industry and being around all the different vehicles and things like that. It's and that's why I go old or new. I'm pro new, for sure. And not that I can't respect the older vehicles and what somebody puts into it, but I just know the work and the man hours that it takes to go through those things, and to be that guy that's staring at the fitting wall going, how do I get from here to there, and stuff like that, and just the amount of time that I know that they've put into it, and then that car, if you're rebuilding it and customizing it, it's never going to be finished. That is going to be a project that just continues on for for forever.
Yeah, they're never done.
You're never going to be completely satisfied with how it is, and then the money is only a drop in the hat to the amount of man hours that go into to refurbishing that stuff. But
I just tell people, that race or whatever, you're never done working on the car. You just have to stop so that you can go to the racetrack and race it.
So, yeah. So
what do we got? A caller?
Yeah, I got a caller here, so we'll get him patched through. Let's see. We'll get Keegan patched through here and see what he's got going on his Chevy Cruze, I think is what he had up there that he was fighting a vacuum leak on. So, but 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here, and let's talk about old cars. So let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Keegan. Keegan, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
How's it going, guys?
How are you, sir?
Good.
Oh, I'm doing. So the Chevy Cruze problem, changing the PVC valve and the EGR valve. So when you start it up after changing all that, the idle sits there and jumps. So I didn't know. To me, that sounded like it would be an air leak, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah. So when you very first fire it up, it idles really high.
Well, it idles at in between 1,000 to 1,500, but it'll sit there and jump up to 2,000 and then jump back down, and jump back up.
Gotcha. And so what led you to change those components? It was doing that previous to that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And everyone that's worked on them has told me change that because that usually changes the problem.
Yeah, it does sound like you have a vacuum leak there. And so I don't know if you were listening earlier in the show when I said, so a couple of things you could do is, one, if you plugged or capped off all your external vacuum sources. So any port from the intake that goes to, on that, I'm sure there's a vacuum port for the brake booster. There's probably a vacuum port for like your HVAC. And so if you plug off all of those ports, just to make sure that it's not in like a line or another component that's outside of the engine compartment, and just get it down to the base engine. And then from there, again, cautiously with a fire extinguisher around, if you were to spray that thing down with some type of carb cleaner around like your intake manifolds, things like that, all the gasket mating surfaces, you should get a substantial idle flare whenever you come across wherever it's sucking in an external air leak. The other way to know that is if you had a scanner and you were able to if you were able to monitor your short and long-term fuel trims to know whether it's rich or lean at that point, that would really be my suggestion first would be to monitor that stuff. We've got another gentleman here is listening on the line and just put on the chat for a mass airflow sensor. That could be a thing as well. If it's reading incorrectly, it will make it do weird or different things. The other thing is ambient air temperature. If it thinks that it's negative 63 degrees outside, it should be throwing a bunch of fuel to it, and it's going to be making it idle a lot faster. So there's a lot of things that I would look into, starting out with just viewing data off of a scanner, initially monitoring short and long-term fuel trims just to know if you are in fact fighting a vacuum leak or not. So, but would love to throw a diagnostic onto your package and we'd take a look at that thing. I know for you, you're quite a ways out, and that doesn't work very well, but definitely checking over the vacuum, looking for vacuum leaks, and then monitoring that short and long-term fuel trim just to see where you're at on whether it's running rich or lean or what is. If it's running really lean, then I'm guessing you're on the right track with a vacuum leak, and keep checking that down for sure. So,
okay,
all right. Hope we got you in a direction and helped you out there. So, all right, Keegan.
Oh yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, sir. Yep. And then we got another comment on there. What was that last one?
Wonder if Keegan may have a throttle body going out. That's what my Dodge Caliber did when the throttle body went bad on it.
That is could be a possibility on that as well. And so again, it'd be a matter of going through the flow chart and running codes and looking at values to see where he's at. I was going to give Keegan a diagnostic onto his package, but Keegan lives up in Illinois, and that's a little bit of a drive. From that side. Let's see. We've got another caller on the line, so we've officially
we beat last week's record.
Well, we got to get him on the phone first. Yeah. It's like a fish. Until you reel it in, you don't have it. We'll get him going. But yeah, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us. And let's talk about cars. I want to hear what cars, I want to hear what your story is. I'm very excited to hear Delbert's story on this Astro van, and going from a Pontiac Firebird to an Astro van. So but yeah, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us. So good morning, Delbert. How's things going?
Wonderful, man. How you doing?
We're doing great. So having a fun time here this morning, talking about older cars. And I just got to know, what made you go from a Firebird to an Astro van?
You nailed the chicken on the head there with that comment of the family. So had twin daughters in 91.
So
we thought, let's trade it off for a van, and we were van people until 2005.
Yep.
I literally owned that one there, the 91. Then I bought a 94 years later, and I bought a brand new 96. That one didn't last very long because it had some major issues from the factories. As a matter of fact, they went in for fuel injectors on that one 4 times before they decided to put Bosch fuel injectors in it, and then it ran fine. But it started having the Dexcool antifreeze issue.
Oh yeah,
the antifreeze would turn brown, and so we traded it off on another new one. Not an Astro though. We ended up with a Pontiac Montana that year. In 99. We bought a brand new one of those. That was actually a nice vehicle, but it was it also ended up having the Dexcool antifreeze, and we ended up putting the motor in it at 72,000 miles. So
we got rid of it in 2005, bought a Jeep.
And went to a Jeep. There you go. And then
Jeep, and it was not the same size.
Yeah. Once you got into that van world, you sat up higher and had more visibility and a little more leg room and stuff like that than that Firebird, and never looked back, right?
Nope. I owned 5 different Astro vans over the years.
Yeah.
Just loved to drive them, man. They were great. But the last one I had 188,000 miles on it. And the motor was strong, but man, she was just, everything was breaking and creaking.
I remember when those things first came out, just the amount of real estate on the windshield. It seemed like that windshield was cool. Huge, like the visibility of it for sure. Well, yeah, I understand that completely. As needs change and you make that move, and then going from again, being around here and getting to drive several different vehicles and stuff like that, crawling in and out of a Mustang is fun, and they're really fun to drive, but you can only crawl in and out of it.
Every single day.
Yeah, it's just not for me, not a daily driver. Give me an F-150, and I'm ecstatic about that. Again, it's fun. I love it. There's a need for it. There's a purpose for it, but crawling in and out of one of those every day for me is not ideal.
And then you mentioned a Vista Cruiser. Guess what I had when I was 16?
Oh, really?
74 Vista Cruiser station wagon.
So was that a hand-me-down deal, or did you guys go out and find that?
It was my mom and dad. Yep. They handed it down. Dad bought all kinds of old used stuff, and my first 2 cars were Vegas, 71 and 73, I think. And I had to put a transmission in one because the transmission was frozen in order to make the other one work.
It was a rob Peter to pay Paul situation there.
Yes, but I think he got those cars for free, man. He didn't pay much for them if he paid anything. But
if you had it,
I drove a 76 Pontiac Astor. Remember the Pontiac Astor came after the Vega? It was kind of a little bit better. Had Iron Duke in it. Yeah,
Iron
wasn't
Duke.
Very fast, but boy, she got up and go and just took you anywhere you wanted to go.
Well, and you think back there, back then it seemed fast, but then you think of the horsepower rating and stuff that it had then, and compared that to what we have now, and then all the weight that we've shed, and I don't know. That's why the feature comforts of just how the door closes and how the AC works and the no wind noises, and I don't.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Those things, brand new off the showroom floor, had probably wind noise. So for sure, it's just the advancements in technology for sure. So if you could have any vehicle restored or new that you wanted, what would it be?
Well, I'd probably like a retro mod, like a 69, 70, 71 Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Another Mopar guy.
Tank. I've always loved the Charger until they made it a 4-door, but otherwise,
kind of ruined it at that point.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Well, very good. Well, Delbert, thank you for the call in. Thanks for the story and sharing the information for sure.
Anytime, man. I got plenty of that stuff, stories for sure.
Well, the
accidents and everything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So I guess you could do that. Accident wise in an older car versus accident wise in a newer car, and how each one of them felt, and the safety features behind it for sure.
That's a good thought. I was T-boned on one of the Astro vans, and because I hit the door window, I got knocked out, but other than that, I was fine. And then I had a T-bone in a Chevy Chevette. That was a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, not
many years
there.
apart, by the way.
Not much to absorb the impact in the Chevette.
No, not anything to absorb the impact in the Chevette.
Just the driver.
Even with a little bit of rust in the floors, those things are terrible.
Yeah.
Just hope you stay in the seat at that point.
Every once in a while, you go to the drag strip and see one of those that's all souped up and ready to go.
It's tubbed out. It's like, how'd you get them wheel tubs in there?
Because there was no floor.
Yeah,
it was already rusted out
before they started.
All you had to do is put whatever you wanted in there.
Nice.
Well, good deal. Well, Delbert, appreciate you calling in, and thanks for the info and the laughs for sure. So,
all right, buddy.
All right,
we'll talk to you guys soon again.
Have a good day. 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here, and let's talk about old cars or what you'd want to have or do there. So, the other thing we're going to talk about is we're talking about where we're at track wise. So this week we're in Denver.
So this week is the Mile High Nationals at Vandemir Speedway. And since Denver is in our geographical territory for Hoosier Tire, we've got a crew out there servicing that event for all of the sportsman racers that run Hoosier Tire. So that's a lot of fun. We were supposed to be in Salina last night, but they ended up canceling that race. But so the rest of us kind of got a weekend off, but we've got a busy schedule coming up.
Yeah.
So,
next week, I was trying to think of, so we've got Topeka is going to be right around the corner too.
Yeah. So week after August, next, isn't it? Yeah.
I think that's the first part of August or.
The end of July. So the last week of July. So starting on July 27th, we'll be at Heartland Park for the annual double divisional event for NHRA. So we'll have a crew up there for that. We've got ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. Their Speed Week makes 3 stops in our area here coming up that same week too. Plus we've got a few more events at Salina. We've got the Silver Dollar Nationals is next week at I-80 Speedway, Nebraska. So the Lucas Oil Dirt Series, $53,000 to win. We'll have a dealer servicing that, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to cruise up there Friday and Saturday and kind of support him. And
$53,000 to win.
$53,000 to win. Silver Dollar Nationals paid out in silver dollars.
I'm just in it for the trophy, though.
Yeah, me too.
No. Yeah, that's a good win right there for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then, lots of big events on the horizon for both Mel Hambelton and Hoosier. So we're just excited to be there supporting them.
Yep, very much so. Let's see, you got another comment on there. What do you got there?
I know this is a Ford show, but I'd really love to have a 2010-ish Corvette Z06 with the 427.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Rex, you bring up a great point on that. And yes, it is Mel Hambelton Ford. But from that side of things, we service, we sell, we have parts for, we just about all makes and models.
Right.
There's and that's one thing is I'd love for everybody to have nothing but Ford sitting in their drive, just because obviously that it's a Ford dealer, but I know that that's not feasible, from that side of things. And we're here to help you with whatever your automotive needs are. We've got a lot of technicians that came from other dealers, other franchises, got a lot of experience,
very diverse backgrounds out there
from that side of things, with a lot of competitive make model training from that side. I think we bring Hunter in a lot for steering, suspension, alignments, all the adaptive advanced driver assist systems, and all of that stuff is all makes, all models. We do not specify on that. I mean, there's situations where we get into some particular repairs that they aren't even cars.
Yeah, they're not.
From that side. So really, we just want to be your go-to place in anything automotive, whether that's a Ford vehicle or not. And so, the need for wanting a Corvette. I really do think that in Chevrolet's terms, that's one thing that they really that they really went to is they had their own defined sports car with the Corvette. You know, if you look at Mustangs, you look at Dodge and the Challenger or Charger from that side, you have such an array of configurations that you can get into that car, whether it's engine size. You know, you get a guy with a V6 that has a V6 Mustang, thinks he has a sports car that goes all the way up to the Roush, you know, stage 3 supercharged. There's just so many variations. GT500. There's so many variations of the Mustang, and the GT500, it will compete hands down with Chevy's Corvette, no problem. But the Corvette is really just a class of sports cars. You're not going to get a 6-cylinder Corvette, if that makes any sense. And so, again, there's an I think, as they say it, there's an ass for every seat, and we're here to help help any way we can on that.
Tell people we sell new Fords, and that's about the extent of it. So everything else is fair game. So,
but that's definitely one to be sought after for sure.
Yeah, but we'll talk about like these manufacturers, for a second. So we've got like Ford has the Mustang and Chevy has the Corvette, and but like Ford and Chevy seem like they're competing right now for like the EV market, and they're trying to break into that market, and they're focusing on a lot on a fuel economy because that's a big topic right now. And then you got Dodge over here, who's still just trying to figure out how to put more horsepower into something, So I think it's pretty cool, the diversity of the brands and what their end goals are. So
the EV market is something that is over the next couple of years is, I think, really going to grow. It's gonna blossom for sure.
Definitely.
We were this week, we bought some hybrid chargers to go around the facility, both between here and Quick Lane as well. And I was walking around with the electrician trying to decide, where to put them and things like that as we prepare for that next stage and that getting that infrastructure to be able to support that. It is something that it's going to grow. It's going to get bigger. I'd read an article about Tesla and putting a battery plant in Kansas to manufacture batteries for those things.
Panasonic is going to build one up by Kansas City.
Yep. So it's one of those things that it is coming. It's gonna grow for sure. I think for this region here, I don't know is that it's going to grow as quickly as East and West Coast and things like that, but it's definitely coming for sure.
The coastal states are definitely way beyond already, where we're at here in the Midwest. But yeah, it's definitely going to grow. It's going to get bigger. It's coming. And it's just going to be a change to the automotive world that we've known forever, and it'll be very interesting to see all the vehicles that come out as EVs.
Yep, very, very exciting. So let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. That's a number to jump on the air here. Let's talk about automotive. What's your dream car? What's a car that you got rid of that you really wished you wouldn't have done that, from that side? I'll tell you, I always liked the Buick Grand National. I always thought that would be a really cool car to have. You don't get many options. I think your color options are black, or black.
Better like black.
And then the T-tops, I think that's the options. But just the technology that was in that car when it was produced, I think about 84, 86, from that side of things. But to have it's a turboed V6 motor. And I've just always liked the thought of it and the technology that was out kind of before its time, I guess, so to speak. But that's always been a car for me. So anytime I go to a car museum or something like that and see one of those things, I think that's pretty cool. For sure.
Definitely. The Grand Nationals, man, they were such a staple of the automotive industry in the 80s because, like you said, they were just so far ahead of their time, and they were just so neat.
And then, from there, it's just every time I turn around, I see a vehicle come through or look at it. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then next year they come out with a new model,
right?
And you think, well, that one's pretty cool too.
Right.
So
yeah, and just some of the stuff that we see come through our service department. We have Ferraris that come through here, and Corvettes and Maserati, and just like it's just like kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. Like we sell new Fords, and that's just the extent of it. But we work on anything. I mean, we have some customers that do have some very high-end cars that really just put their trust in our dealership to work on them, so because we have the skills and the equipment to do it. So
again, it goes down to just trying to take care of the customer from
Absolutely.
that side and get them everything they need, and to be able to handle all their needs, so that again, when something happens, when something breaks, when they need to replace it, we're who they think of.
We're there
for sure.
Yep,
so.
Absolutely.
Anyways, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here. If you got any last minute comments or anything you'd like to add, hop on the air here with us, and let's discuss it. So, Nick, what as far as parts wise on the Hoosier tire side of things, how are you there? Are you able? I know with back working about and everything like that. How's things going?
Going pretty. We're having issues in a few areas, particularly open wheel dirt with supply, but really, we're just trying to take the inventory that we can get and try to distribute it out in the right place. And I mean, sometimes we've got plenty to cover an event, and sometimes we feel like we may be a little bit short, but we're doing our best to make the right decisions and put the inventory in the right spot, and keep everybody racing. I mean, that's the end goal, every day is to just, how can we keep people racing and keep people going with tires.
So have you seen tracks make adjustments or modifications to like their lap count,
yes,
and things like that, to try and help preserve this? Or
yes, so a lot of the tracks and the series that we service have definitely made adjustments like that. So they've adjusted the number of hot laps that they get, green white checker, 2 laps, that's really all you need. Make sure the motor's going to run, the thing's going to turn, and the brakes are going to work when you step on the brake pedal.
We're racing.
And then heat races, keep them 6-8 laps. The A features, 20 laps max. If you got to run a B feature, instead of running a 12 or 15 lap B feature, split those cars into 2 races and run them like another heat race. Just to keep laps off of those cars and keep laps off of those tires, and for even some of the sprint car divisions, that are running at a racetrack, any particular week, we're trying to get them to work with the promoters of the racetrack to get them on the track first, when the racetrack's still there, when when it's the least chance of the racetrack eating the tires, so the guys will have something to race on the next week. So yes, definitely trying to get the promoters and the tracks to make those kinds of adjustments to conserve tires and ease tire wear and everything like that. So,
yeah. And, it's really just about trying to keep people in the sport, keep them going from that side. And I think we've done a really good job this year with the inventory that we have had to try and be able to service everybody and get it there. It's definitely, I think that it's looking better come wise or future wise.
I think so.
For sure. And we'll get out of this hole for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's it's going to take some more time. We're going to have another season of this, of allocating tires and being short. I mean, Hoosier is even though it may not seem like it, Hoosier's building more tires than they've ever built. Their dirt tire production is up. I mean, but just as we've seen in the past couple of seasons, the consumption rate and the market demand and everything has just been really high, and there's a lot of people racing right now, and just being able to get enough tires into the field, and being able to get enough tires from Hoosier, that's just really the challenge. But yeah, like you said, I mean, we've done a really great job of supporting our racing series and supporting our tracks and keeping people racing. I mean, there's always going to be a few hiccups along the way, and and we're not always going to be perfect. We're not always going to put the right amount of stuff in the right place. We've never been through this before, and we just, this is, I think, a learning experience for the whole industry as a whole. But but I think, a lot of people are starting to realize is that, it's not just the race tire industry that, that this is affecting. I mean, it's everything. I mean, look how many new cars we have on our lot, it's just, it's every industry. It doesn't matter. So I think everybody, no matter what they're involved in, whether it's for their job or their hobby or whatever, I think they've suffered,
There's pain
through,
points.
some sort of shortage, whatsoever, whether it be race tires or anything else. So
yeah. Got another comment here from James. So it says, I worked at a Dodge store here in town for a little over 3 years as service aisle attendant, and that was the funnest job. Getting to drive all the sorts of vehicles. I only got to drive a Viper once, though. That is I had forgot about the Dodge Viper.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how, but I had forgot about that. Growing up, pre driver's license,
yes,
that was one of the cars that I
Same.
I just
Same.
loved, absolutely loved. Had diecast model of
Yep.
it, like the whole deal. And then later on, as I grew up and got into this industry and things like that, I was able to drive one.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to drive it, it just ruined the car completely for me. I didn't like the way it drove. I didn't like the way it handled. I didn't like the way the V10 sounded. But as far as the aesthetics of that car, it was
like the like the original Vipers, like the RT10, the Roadster, and even when they first came out with the GTS model, those were those were the iconic Vipers. I was in the same boat as you. Like, I remember the first time I ever saw one, and I just freaked out, because it was the coolest car in the world. But yeah, as the years went on, and then they kind of redesigned it, it just really wasn't exciting. But those original nostalgic Dodge Vipers, man, they were so cool.
Well, very good. Well, hey, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a blast of an hour talking about older vehicles and different things like that. So definitely keep this in mind going forward. If you want to call in next week and share your story as well, we'd love to hear from you. So 316-462-3673, that's the number to do that. But now I'm going to go through. Nick, thanks for hanging out with me for the hour. And
thanks for having me. It's always fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. But we'll thank our sponsors of the show, which is going to be Big Corner Creative. So all your advertising needs, marketing needs, race car wraps, window wraps, those guys down there, they'll nail it. I promise it.
They were wrapping a semi truck yesterday.
Yeah, they were. So as they say, just Google us. So Big Corner Creative. Then we've got BG products for all the great preventative maintenance items we use right here inside Mel Hambelton Ford. Those guys, the amount of tech or research and development they do to just ensure that the product you're getting is the absolute best is phenomenal. So BG products, again, we've got all their service guides or service products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. And then Go To Rent, as we talked earlier in the show, summertime, everybody's traveling, everybody's out moving around. If you need a larger van or a larger vehicle to go on a summer trip, let's get with Stan right here inside of Mel Hambelton Ford. Everybody have a safe weekend, and we will talk to you next Saturday.